Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving deep into the massive guitar sound of Takashi Gima from the legendary Japanese punk rock band MONGOL800. I mean, for over 20 years, his tone has been the driving force, the absolute engine of that band. So today, we're going to break down exactly how he pulls it off. And there he is, the man himself. Simple, direct, a lot like his playing style. But you gotta be careful, don't let that simplicity fool you. Because as we're about to find out, making a sound that feels that simple, well, that's actually an incredibly complex art form. All right, so here's the game plan. We're going to start with that deceptively simple sound, track his evolution as a player, then get into the nitty-gritty of his powerhouse amp rig and his road-ready pedal board. And then, the really important part, we'll uncover the philosophy behind his tone and even talk about how you can start crafting your own sound. Okay, let's start with the end result, that raw, energetic, and just instantly recognizable MONGOL800 sound. You hear it, and you know who it is. Now, on the surface, it seems pretty straightforward, right? But what's really going on is a master class in sonic architecture, especially for a three-piece band. And that really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? When you've only got a guitar, bass, and drums, it's like there's nowhere to hide. Every single instrument has to find its own perfect little pocket to sit in. And Takashi Gima's whole approach, well, that's the secret sauce that makes it all click. I mean, think about it. His tone is the absolute heart of monster tracks like Chisana Koi no Uta and Anatani. It's the sound that totally defined the youthful, raw energy of Japanese rock in the early 2000s. Honestly, it became the foundation for a whole generation of fans and, for sure, a ton of other musicians. All right, let's get into the gear. We're going to start with his guitars. And what's so cool here is that his choice of instruments isn't just about what sounds good. It actually tells a story. The story of the band's journey, from their early high school days all the way to becoming total rock veterans. So check out this progression. It really lays out the whole story of the band's evolution. In the early days, he's rocking a classic Fender Strat. I mean, it's the perfect tool for that bright, aggressive punk sound they started with, right? But then, as the band matures and their music gets more complex, he makes a big jump to a high-end Sadovsky. And that one choice, man, it signals a huge shift towards a more refined, more versatile, and just more powerful tone. And you can totally hear that shift just by looking at the pickups he's using. He goes from that raw, cutting, single-coil bite of the Stratocaster, which, let's be honest, was perfect for those early fast punk anthems, to the much warmer, fatter sound of a humbucker in his Sadovsky. That change, it just opens up a whole new world. It allows for so much more nuance, and it's exactly what he needed to serve the more complex songs they started writing later on. So we've got the guitars, but how does he amplify them? How does that sound actually get to our ears? Okay, now this is where things get really, really interesting. Because he doesn't just plug into a standard amp head like most people. Oh no. He's running a super sophisticated component rig that's all about one thing: maximum control. And this setup, this is the secret weapon behind his incredible clarity and power, especially when they're playing live. See, a component system like this gives him the ability to shape his tone with, surgical precision. It means he can guarantee that his sound is perfectly consistent and just absolutely massive, night after night after night. Let's break this down because it's a brilliant setup. Think of it like this. The custom audio preamp, that's the brain, it's what shapes his three core tones: clean, crunch, and lead. Then you've got the VHT power amp, that's the muscle. It just provides a ton of pure, clean tube power with a massive amount of headroom. And that's key, because it means the power amp itself isn't breaking up. All the distortion, all the grit is coming from the preamp. And finally, the Mesa Boogie cabinet, that's the voice. It's got this super thick mid-range that lets his guitar just punch right through the mix without ever getting in the way of the bass. Okay, next up, let's look down at the floor at his pedal board. And his philosophy here is so simple but so smart and practical. It's basically stick to what works, stick to what sounds classic, and maybe most importantly, stick to what's going to survive years and years of being stomped on during a tour. Honestly, his board is like a greatest hits collection of guitar pedals. You've got the Blues Driver, the Tube Screamer, the Rat. I mean, come on, these are industry standards for a reason, right? It's the same story with the Boss Chorus and Delay. You'll notice there are no weird, boutique, hard-to-find pedals here. Nope. These are reliable, tour-proof workhorses, plain and simple. And what does this all tell us? It points to a philosophy of function over fashion. It's not about what's cool or trendy. For a band that tours as relentlessly as MONGOL800 does, you just need gear you can out on, period. This board is all about stability and knowing you have the right tool for the job, ready to go every single night. So, we've looked at all the gear, we know the what and the how, but now we get to the most important part. Because the real secret to Takashi Gima's sound, it's not hiding in a pedal or an amp. It's in the why. It's a mindset. And this right here, this is the absolute core of his entire approach to guitar. He is a master of what I like to call the aesthetic of subtraction. Think about that. It's not about cramming in as many notes as you can. No, it's about the notes you choose not to play. It's all about leaving space, creating room for the bass and the vocals to really shine. And in a three-piece band, oh man, that role is absolutely critical. Think about it. If the guitar is too boomy and bass-heavy, the whole mix just turns into a muddy mess. If it's too bright and shrill, it's going to clash with the vocals. So Gima acts as the band's balancer. He's meticulously carving out the exact sonic space where his guitar can live and breathe without stepping on anyone else's toes. And his EQ strategy is the key to how he does it. Just look at this. See how he cuts a lot of the low frequencies? That's on purpose. He's staying out of the bass player's territory, avoiding all that mud. But then, look at that mid-range. He boosts it significantly. And why? Because that's where the guitar's real voice and character lives. It allows him to punch through the mix and be heard clearly, without having to just crank the volume to 11. Okay, so this is all great, but how can you take these lessons and apply them to your own playing? Well, the good news, and it's really good news, is that you absolutely do not need a high-end Sadowski and a custom rack system to capture the spirit of his approach. You can get so close to his core tone with gear that's way more accessible. A simple Squier Stratocaster, it can absolutely nail that early punk sound. A basic Boss DS1 distortion pedal, yep, that'll get you that classic crunch. See, the real key here isn't the price tag on the gear. It's about understanding how to use the tools you have to serve the song. And listen, if there's only one thing you take away from this entire breakdown, please let it be this. Serve the song, not the ego. Takashi Gima's entire sound is a masterclass in putting the music first. It's all about crafting a part that actually makes everyone else in the band sound even better. It's a mindset, people, not just a pile of expensive gear. So I want to leave you with this question. The next time you're dialing in your amp or stepping on a pedal, don't just ask yourself, does this sound cool? Ask yourself a better question. What is the purpose of this tone? What does this song actually need from me right now? And that right there is the real lesson from the sonic architect of MONGOL800. Thanks for joining me.